This is episode 91 of The Place of Sound, and I'm your host, Kateryna Kalynovska. If you're tuning in for the first time, this show usually features student audio projects produced in Comms 4501, a fourth-year digital media production course, taught by Vincent Andriseni here at Carleton University. But this episode, like the last, is a little different. I'm a Carleton student myself, majoring in media production and design, with a minor in communication and media studies. And today's show is part 2 of a special collaboration with my BMPD classmates. Over the winter, we took a course called Civic Engagement in Public Institutions Part 2, taught by Professor Caroline O'Neill. Our main assignment was to create a group podcast series, exploring civic issues through interviews and narrative storytelling. Last episode, we featured the first 2 parts of the series called The City That Fun Forgot, Ottawa's Nightlife Dilemma. Today, we'll hear the final 2 episodes. The third episode in this series is Last Call, hosted by Mackenzie Charbonneau. It explores Ottawa's entertainment culture through conversations with drag queen Adriana Expose, Afrobeat artist Kareem, and comedian Alex Wood. From the city's limited support for creatives to the push for change with a new night mayor, this episode takes a close look at what it takes to build a career in entertainment in the capital. Here's The Last Call by Mackenzie Charbonneau.
Imagine yourself on a stage, a glaring spotlight blinding your eyes, thousands of people screaming your name, and the inescapable army of beloved fans. Where do you think you are? I can promise you, you didn't answer Ottawa. I'm your host, Mackenzie Charbonneau, and in this episode, Last Call Entertainers in Ottawa, we examine how fame is hard to come by in our government town. I spoke with 3 local performers, Adriana Expose, a drag queen, Kareem, an Afrobeats musician, and Alex Wood, a comedian. In this episode, we will explore why performers choose to stay in our city, examine why some decide to leave, and seek solutions to this complex issue. Our first guest, Kareem, is no stranger to building opportunities for himself. Bringing Afrobeats to Ottawa presents challenges, but rather than waiting for the scene to grow, Kareem founded Woke Studios, a space for artists to collaborate and showcase their work. This studio has garnered financial support from the city, as well as Canadian broadcasters.
When I moved to Ottawa in 2014, I went to a creatively inclined school. After graduating from the experience that I gained, I started doing shows myself and with a few community leaders like Jacoda, who was an Indigenous Black rapper as well. So he was one of the first people to put me on platforms and teach me, how to record my music and that, and also just introduce me to different people in the Ottawa music scene. And from practicing with him and just, putting on shows and releasing songs, I gained some notoriety. And I'm a business owner as well, so I lead a creative collective, and I started that after graduating high school as well. So, so from creating my business and practicing with Jacoda, I got the chance to be nominated for a Spirit of the Capital Award from Youth Ottawa, and that was great. That helped me hone in on my business skills and also put me in a different league just to understand how the music business is run and how to move as a community leader and not just an artist.
Kareem thinks that grants are also essential to young musicians.
Yeah, so a great resource for Canadian artists is grants. So doing grants is, it can be a lifeline when you're starting off and just trying to figure things out.
Sandra Oh, the famous Ottawa-based actress, was asked a question at Toronto International Film Festival. A fan wanted advice on how to make it big in Ottawa. This is how Oh responded.
Leave Ottawa. I'm sorry, I love my hometown, but I left.
But this sentiment is not unheard of. Many new entertainers are encouraged to perform in Toronto or Montreal, the most popular show destinations, or move their work to the States. Comedian Alex Wood knows this struggle well. Seeking more opportunities in the early 2010s, he found that Ottawa's small comedy scene made it difficult to build a brand. What made you move to Toronto?
So, I moved January 2013, and I 100% moved for more career opportunities in Toronto. I still think that if you want to make a living at this, you got to move to Toronto or Vancouver still. That's just sort of the nature of show business. That's not exclusively Canada. Like, if you live in America and you want to really try to get to the next level, you have to move to LA or New York.
What is your take on the work opportunities available in Ottawa?
Well, I started in 2005, and the most you could get on stage then was, as a brand new comic, was twice a month. And that was if you were lucky. And now the scene's evolved. There's tons of shows. Like, there's open mics. Absolute Comedy now has a Monday and a Tuesday night for up and coming comics. Obviously, like, a lot of more big name comedians come through Ottawa now too. I think that I remember when Jerry Seinfeld did the NAC, it was like notorious. There was lineups like down the street because like a big comic like that so seldom came through Ottawa. So kind of like from the top down, it's a really like thriving comedy scene now. There's more people than ever doing it. There's more shows than ever. And then now I find out that there's more than just shawarma restaurants and the Senators here. And it seems like it's actually fun to live in Ottawa now.
For many, picking up your life and relocating can be challenging, but Ottawa can work for many. Drag queen Adriana Expose is well known in our city, hosting weddings, DJing, and performing. Locals are a steady audience for queens like Adriana, but entertainment isn't a full-time job. Adriana warns potential stars of the risks of show business.
And even then, like, I would not recommend anyone ever do drag full-time in Canada, but that's just me. Like, I think it's really healthy to do drag and have something else as well, because there's nothing for you. Like, it's like any kind of show business. Like, you don't have necessarily insurance. You don't have like a stable income, right? So if something happens to you physically, you're out of commission. And that's why, like, personally, I try to do as many different things as I can and not just lip syncing, because I'm always so scared of that. That's like a fear of mine, is like, what if I get injured or something like that and I can't work tomorrow? I want to still be able to like DJ or host an event. So I think you can do it, and I know people that do it, and it works out great for them. I think if someone were starting out here in Ottawa and we're looking to replace their current job with drag, I would say that's like that there would be like a 3 to 4 year sort of learning curve between the two things.
So I have to ask, what got you into initiating weddings?
Yeah, great question. When I started doing DJing, I did a lot of research, and I was like, okay, what kind of DJ am I going to be? Am I going to be a club DJ? Am I going to be a wedding DJ? So yeah, I decided to be sort of like a mobile DJ. And from there, I just noticed I was doing a lot of weddings, and I had done like a mock wedding in terms of marrying two people. Like, they were already married, but they had me dress up and do the ceremony for them. So like for pictures. And I looked into it, and it seems really easy to get ordained, but there's so many like obstacles that you have to go through. Like, at first I was like, this looks kind of easy. And then I'm Jewish, all the churches wanted me to like have a baptism. And I was like, that feels sort of like weird to me. I don't want to do that. So there were only like 5 churches left then. And then 3 of them were like, oh, we don't allow you to marry same-sex people. And I was like, so I've been like on the back end, sort of like calling and email those churches back and forth just to understand better while also doing my ordination. But eventually, I was just like, I kind of want to offer as much as I can in one day and include as many people as I can. So like right now I do like I can marry people, I can MC the event, DJ, I have a photo booth that I can rent out. And so as a result, like I can bring some of my my close friends in, like people I already work with, like other queens or production assistants, and they can help me out with like things that I can't do all at once, and it just makes for a great working environment. So I think I was just at first it was sort of like, this seems like a cool thing to do and seems right up my alley, and then the more I did it, the more I realized it was in line with like what I was already working on personally.
Many residents work in the public sector, where job security, benefits, and a steady paycheck are the norm. Pursuing entertainment as a career means stepping away from that stability and taking on a financial risk. This can make it harder to build a strong arts community, as many potential performers opt for safer career paths. Beyond individual successes, the city itself is making changes. Ottawa has recently appointed a night mayor, Matthew Grondin, tasked with revitalizing nightlife and advocating for entertainers. Musician Kareem is feeling very optimistic about the addition of a night mayor.
So, in terms of the nightlife, same verdict. It's growing. It's getting better. Now there's a nightlife community. I hope it triples the effort that's already happening right now. I think there are a decent amount of opportunities, but for someone who practices in my genre, not as much as there should be. So I create Afrobeats music, and so often we do have to find either ourselves making our own shows, or we find ourselves in different cities for different opportunities. But if you're an artist in Ottawa and you're practicing rap and, more on the hip hop side, then opportunities plenty. There's clubs that you can go to. There's different people. I think it's just the city is more primed for hip hop than it is for Afro beats, and also it's great for folk as well. There's bars, there's a lot of open mic opportunities, but for other genres, it might be tougher. It might be tougher, but again, I have faith that the nightlife committee can do something different and help it grow.
So, does Ottawa deserve its reputation as the city that fun forgot? If you ask our guests, the answer is complicated. The scene exists, but it's less exciting than other Canadian cities. For those who stay, it's a labor of love. And for those who leave, it's a sign that Ottawa still has a long way to go. Make sure to watch our previous episodes, covering the cost of a good time and consumer reactions to Ottawa's struggling nightlife. Make sure to check out our website and get to know our guests and more information about downtown Ottawa. In the next episode, Habone will cover the politics of partying, exploring the policymakers' side of nightlife. That's a wrap. See you next time.
Thank you, Mackenzie, for bringing the creator's perspective into the spotlight. I definitely share your optimism about the Nightlife Committee, but only time will tell. As Mackenzie mentioned, next up is the final episode in the series, Politics of Partying, produced by Habone Omar Hassan. In this one, Habone speaks with Rideau Vanier Award Councillor Stephanie Plante about the policies shaping Ottawa's nightlife, from noise bylaws and zoning to liquor licenses. It's a closer look at how change happens and what still stands in the way. Over to you, Habone.
Welcome back to the City That Fun Forgot, Ottawa's Nightlife Dilemma. I'm your host, Habone Omar Hassan, and in this episode, The Politics of Partying, we're going to explore the political side of Ottawa's nightlife. Ottawa, despite being the capital, often gets overlooked when it comes to fun activities relating to nightlife. Well, in the final episode of this series, we will look at other issues impacting our city's nightlife performance, such as noise regulations, bylaws, and liquor licensing. Rideau Vanier, ward of downtown core and hub for Ottawa's nightlife. We spoke with Ward Councillor Stéphanie Plante from Rideau Vanier to describe to us what it really takes for the city to have a thriving nightlife.
Hey, how are you?
Hello, good. How are you?
Good.
I wanted to ask you a few questions regarding how do you balance the growing nightlife with the needs of like current residents of Rideau Vanier ward.
So I would say the nightlife looks a lot different for us here in this ward because I have a lot of people where the nightlife is work. They are janitors, they are garbage people, they are nurses, they're personal support workers. Yes, it's true. We have like what you traditionally think of a nightlife. So we'll go to bars and whatever. But I always tell people we need systems that respond to people who don't have banker's hours, right? Who don't work 9 to 5. We need daycares for people who work overnight. We need a transit system that has buses at 3 a.m. So when you get off your shift, you can get home. So yes, we have a nightlife, but we also have night lifers, if that makes sense. And so I want to make sure those people are represented in those discussions.
As we all know, living downtown can be quite challenging as it is the hub for everything. Noise also gets overwhelming for the residents of that area. Currently, our noise restrictions are from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. or up until 9 a.m. on Sundays and holidays. We all know that 11 p.m. is the prime time to get it popping at a party. So, what do Ottawans do? Let's see what Councillor Plante thinks.
Regarding as well noise regulation policies in Rideau Vanier, like how do you address concerns with residents in that area that have noise complaints, usually regarding the nightlife? Yeah.
So we get a lot of noise complaints. I think there's a couple things with that. I think people understand that if you live downtown, like the downtown is not the countryside, right? You're gonna hear a few things. But I think it's important too for people to realize, like, especially in areas like the Byward Market, like there's 1,500 people that live in the Byward Market. Those people need to sleep. Those people need to go to work in the morning. They may have kids. So I'm very adamant that everybody kind of has to put a little water in their wine, but everybody also has to be conscious of the fact that we live in a neighborhood with people in it. It's not just bars and restaurants. We have families here too.
Yeah, exactly. And like, are there any challenges to either like enforce those like regulations, or do you see like any changes in the future regarding like noise regulations to be changed alongside of like the nightlife?
No, I haven't. I haven't looked into that, and it's not. We have something called a bylaw review. So every 4 years they review certain bylaws. That's not on the docket for these 4 years. I would look into it, but I would absolutely carve out exceptions for things like Canada Day, Panda, weddings, anything special. Yeah, but I don't, I would say 360 days out of the year, people are pretty good.
Did you know that sometimes when there are events running within the community past the restriction hours, organizers have to get approval from their ward councillor to get an exemption for their event? Now, let's dive into zoning bylaws. Just like noise regulations, these are another set of rules to follow when it comes to land use. In Ottawa, each area and neighborhoods are divided into residential or commercial areas. Because of this divide, this has created a polarization of nightlife within downtown core only, leaving the suburbs bland and boring. Let's hear from Councillor Plante's opinion on this.
So, regarding zoning laws in Rideau Vanier, how do like zoning laws in Rideau Vanier support or limit nightlife businesses that are currently in, or do they have to do they have to move to redesignated areas for nightlife?
No, because nightlife doesn't really fall under zoning. Like zoning is exclusively the built use form of what a building looks like, right? I think you're referring to bylaws.
Yeah.
So do we reform our bylaws for nightlife? Well, that's a good question, I think, for the nightlife commissioner, Mathieu Grondin. So he will be coming up with some recommendations about that, because I think it's important to remember that there's not just a nightlife downtown.
Yeah.
There's nightlife all over the city. And we do have, in French, we call it une salle de spectacle. Like we have like concert venues all over the city. We have festivals, escapade, whatever, all over the city. So it's a good question, because I'll give you an example. Like during Blues Fest, like I live in Sandy Hill and I can hear them. Like it's literally like a concert on my balcony. Like I can hear everything.
Yeah.
But I don't mind that. And I sort of take it as the price of admission, right? You want to live downtown. You don't want to sit in your car for 40 minutes a day commuting. Price of admission is a couple times a year, you're going to hear some music.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not bothered by it. I like living near students. I like living near vibrant things. But if you're like, Mr., I just want peace and quiet, you may want to move. Just warning you.
Definitely.
The city is currently developing a plan for the next few years to rebuild and change our current zoning bylaws. If you're from Ottawa, you can surely tell a bit of changes have started, such as new businesses opening more in the suburbs like Orleans, Canada, and Barhaven. These businesses range from bowling alleys, roller skates parlor, to restaurants, bars, and coffee shops. This kind of diversity is nice to see for anyone who wants to do anything outside of partying or going to the club. Now, let's dive into liquor licensing. Well, for those of you who love drinks, well, getting a liquor license in Ontario is quite challenging for businesses. Let's ask our ward counselor, Stephanie Plante, on her opinion on this.
Liquor licensing regulations, how does that impact the development of nightlife in Rideau Vanier?
So that's also provincial. It's the AGCO that gives out both cannabis and liquor licenses. So it's people always say to me all the time, oh my God, you have to like zone this for no alcohol, this, that. And it's like, it's not us. It's like, that's all provincially regulated.
The steps to get a liquor license are quite detailed and yet tedious to keep both businesses and customers safe.
Recently, we came across that there is going to be news that we're going to have a new venue that's going to hold about 2,000 people called History Ottawa, and that will be at the same place as the formerly known Chapters on Rideau, with that collaboration between Live Nations and Drake. How do you think that will affect your ward as nightlife scene in the future?
So I don't know. That's a good question. I think anytime you have that kind of investment and that kind of collaboration, it does elevate the discourse around what that venue could be. And I just remind people all the time, it's not just a concert venue. We can have fundraisers there. We can have award shows there. We can have like launch parties there. I would be very, you can have conferences there. Like I would just be very careful about saying, oh, Drake is investing in something and like every mumble rapper and their friends are going to come here and, you know, whatever, Fetty walk their way into our lives.
So yeah, that's really great. That would also like not only like improve the nightlife, but will also have another purpose where it's giving back to the same within the same community as well.
Correct. Yeah.
Ottawa, slowly but surely, is starting to become more fun. From holding the record of the most boring city in Canada to hiring a nightlife commissioner to improve Ottawa's nightlife scene. The news of the creation of History Ottawa can be a newfound hope for its residents and hopefully attract more artists to host concerts.
Yep, that's all on my end. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate this interview.
And thank you for caring about our downtown. It's really important.
As we learned in this series, Ottawa's nightlife is quite the dilemma. In this series, we heard from various voices such as students, professors, politicians, entertainers, and business owners to give us a perspective on Ottawa's nightlife. In the end, we can say that Ottawa's nightlife is not completely dead, it is just starting. Thank you for tuning in and listening to our podcast, The City That Fun Forgot, Ottawa's Nightlife Dilemma. And that's a wrap. See you next time.
Thank you, Habone, for wrapping up this series with such a clear and thoughtful look at the politics behind Ottawa's nightlife. It's one thing to talk about vibes and venues, but hearing about bylaws, zoning, and the work happening behind the scenes really grounds the conversation. Listening to all 4 episodes, I found myself reflecting not just on Ottawa's nightlife, but on what it reveals about the kind of city we live in, and the kind of city we want to build. Kate gave us the economic landscape, a reminder that behind every bar that shuts its doors is a network of people trying to stay afloat. Alicia brought us into the student experience, where decisions about going out aren't just about fun, but about cost, safety, and connection. Mackenzie centered the voices of artists and performers, people trying to build a creative life in a city that doesn't always make space for it. And Habone pulled back the curtain on policies and politics that shape what's possible after dark. Together, these episodes paint a picture of a nightlife ecosystem that's complex, fragile, and deeply human. But they also offer something more, a sense that a change is possible if we choose to listen, care, and take action. And that wraps up our collaboration with the BMPD program and its students, bringing the City That Fun Forgot series to a close. A heartfelt thank you to Kate, Alicia, Mackenzie, and Habone for sharing their stories, their sound, and their perspective on Ottawa's nightlife. If you're a student, a sound enthusiast, or an instructor with a project that you'd like to share, we'd love to hear from you. You can find the submission form on our Instagram page or head over to theplaceofsound.ca and click Get Involved. Thank you for listening, and see you next time on The Place of Sound.